back again to talk about the real story. I've been following the attacks on Tesla dealers and owners, but that's not all I'm talking about today. I'm really talking about a mob mentality. Let me share some headlines with you about Tesla. Brick-wielding woman bashes Tesla in Boston. Multiple cars set on fire at Tesla service center in Las Vegas in targeted attack. Oregon man accused of throwing Molotov cocktails at Tesla dealership. Hapless anti-Musk activist sets himself on fire after attacking South Carolina Tesla charging station. FBI launches task force targeting anti-Tesla domestic terrorism. Tesla attacks mark troubling twist in political violence as Musk divides America. Sadly, this type of mob mentality is nothing new.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Disperse immediately or you will be subject to arrest. Do it now.
Get the out! You have no respect for black lives, you ass!
This reflects some real changes in our society that we hadn't seen for a long time. First, this boldly showed up in 2014 when 18-year-old Michael Brown was killed in Ferguson, Missouri. Then, really big in 2020 when George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This shows violent protests, chaos, violence on the streets that we had not seen in 50 years, really since the 60s and 70s, with the exception of Rodney King, who was attacked in 1992, and even that was over 20 years ago. 15 to over 25 million people in the U.S. participated in Black Lives Matters protests. Now, that's according to the Civis Analytics data science firm. Now, most were peaceful. I have to say, most people that got out and protested this were peaceful, and I certainly support you or them doing so. But the ones that got out of control were inexcusable. Chicago, for example, widespread looting, rioting caused at least $60 million in property damage in one night. 13 police officers injured, according to a report. The Chicago Black Lives Matter organizer, Ariel Adkins, said that this was justified, that looting is just part of reparation. Told WBEZ she 100% supports the violent looters and that even calling someone a criminal is, quote, based on racism. So, saying it's criminal to break windows out of a store, go in, take what you want, and go home is racist. Stealing something that you don't own out of a store is racist. Police Superintendent David Brown told reporters, quote, this was not an organized protest, rather an incident of pure criminality. This was an act of violence against our police officers and our city. I know David Brown. By the way, he's black. Society has laws, of course. Any society does, or it's not a society. Common law flows from good public policy. What is good for society usually makes for good law, right? That's what I mean when I say it flows from good public policy. Now, we also have what are called mores and folkways. Folkways are informal norms that govern everyday interactions and are considered common courtesy, while mores are stricter norms based on moral values and beliefs, and there's usually more serious consequences for violations. They're still not laws. They're just mores. Now, what's going on in our society seems to have taken a big shift, one that we hadn't seen for many, many years. And it all has to do with being entitled to just run amok. Think about this. In order to do this, you have to have a conversation with yourself in your head. You have to say to yourself, look, I'm going to give myself permission to go out on the street and deface a building, vandalize something, break out windows, and just walk in and take what I want and go home with it and claim it as my own. Rules have changed. And the response has changed. We're seeing it now with Tesla. And look, no one was killed here. They are targeting people that have nothing to do with anything that they are objecting to. And in this case, the grievance apparently is with Elon Musk. They don't like what he's doing with the government. They object to his approach to attacking government waste, fraud, and abuse. Now, everybody agrees that government waste is bad, government fraud is bad, government abuse is bad. They don't like the way he's approaching it. So, what do they decide to do? Well, they decide to go attack people that own one of his products. Now, what's his product? Well, his product are electric vehicles. Now, who is it that's objecting to this? Well, they aren't Republicans. These are liberals. And they're liberals who have been really lobbying and pushing hard for people to start driving electric vehicles. They said, look, we've got to save our environment. We need to start driving electric vehicles. So, who is Elon Musk?
And as an act of faith in America, Tesla is going to double vehicle output in the United States within the next 2 years.
He's the most innovative and prolific manufacturer of electric vehicles. So you would think, wow, this is a guy that is doing exactly what they want done. These people apparently sharing a value that electric vehicles are good have purchased Teslas or opened Tesla dealerships. Now they're attacking people that apparently agree with what they put at the top of their priority list. None of them know Elon Musk. I'm certain that they've never met him. They don't know whether they agree with his policies or what he's doing with the government or not. So what they're doing is attacking some person that bought electric vehicle, which they would have encouraged that person to do just a few months earlier. They would have said, please buy an electric vehicle. But now that you did, and we're mad at the person that manufactured it, we're going to attack you. We're going to destroy the car that you bought. Or if you have a dealership, these dealerships that they're attacking, these are owned by people that it's a family guy, a family woman that are living out in the suburbs somewhere that saved their money, bought a dealership. This is how they feed their family, their children. This is how they're making a contribution to society, a contribution that the criminal attackers support. This is a higher form of insanity. Are you kidding me? They're attacking people that have nothing to do with what they're objecting to. Do you know the only place you can get parts to a Tesla is at a Tesla dealership? So if they vandalize or damage a Tesla, they're putting more money in Elon Musk's pocket because they have to go back to his dealership and buy more parts. They're lining his pockets with more money. Who's thinking for these people? There's been a 150% increase in electric vehicle vandalism in the last 12 months, overwhelmingly against Tesla vehicles, dealerships, and charging stations. It's been fueled by social media. There's a website that shows personal information of Tesla owners, names, addresses, and they say, we're not taking it down unless you can send in information that you sold your Tesla. Who's going to buy one? I mean, I guess that's their point. They're saying, okay, you keep it, and we're going to keep harassing you. You sell to somebody else, we'll start harassing them. Again, no impact. Jason woke up to find his Cybertruck damaged, windshield busted, and tires slashed. Now, I spoke with a Tesla owner, Jason. He lived in the Bay Area. He said they were stalking his home. At 4:20 a.m., his security cameras show a masked, hooded person comes up to the house, looks at the driveway, walks away. Why? Because the car wasn't there.
I was shocked. I was just trying to process it all. I couldn't believe that they actually came to my house to do something like that.
Is it your belief that they followed you?
They must have.
Hour and a half later, individual shows up with a large cement block and a couple pieces of tape. They need the tape to cover the Ring camera, but they missed other cameras on the property. Take a look.
They taped over one of my cameras and put a note on my vehicle telling me it was unsafe to drive. And then they went around the vehicle, smashed the tires, and broke the windshield like you see in that video.
So clearly, they're on camera. Welcome to serious problems with the law. Now, is it just social media? No, this is actually fueled by politicians. The U.S. representative from Washington State calls on Tesla Trump protesters to be strike ready and street ready.
We might call this getting strike ready. I think of it as getting us strike ready or street ready.
What does that mean? Strike ready and street ready. Last month, New Mexico Congresswoman called on her constituents to legislate, litigate, agitate.
And we have a three-pronged project. Legislate, litigate, agitate. And you guys are part of the agitate part.
Right after the offices of New Mexico's Republican Party got hit by arson and graffiti that said ICE equals KKK. I don't know what that had to do with it. Then we take a look at campuses. Anti-Israeli protest. Boy, you talk about mob mentality turned free speech into a free-for-all at Columbia University and colleges across the country. They have liberation zones, and these are people that are just straight up supporting terrorist groups. Terrorist groups that have killed and kidnapped American citizens. I saw this firsthand at UCLA. So how do people get sucked into all of this? There's been a lot of study about mob mentality. Why? How people get into it? Well, one's de-individuation. That means you just blur yourself into a big group so you don't feel like you're having to be personally accountable for anything. Everybody wants a purpose, a direction. And sometimes you get into that mob, which is moving with intent, a purpose. It's very emotional. People get out there and they get fired up. They start these chants. It's like one bumper sticker after another. As long as it rhymes, doesn't have to make sense as long as it rhymes. People want to be accepted. And like I said, you can get anonymity and a diffusion of responsibility. You can hide in the crowd. We've seen this across history. Nazi Germany, French Revolution, Salem witch trials. You see it all across history and not just in America. We've got to start holding these people accountable. And if you're getting involved in this, stop and think. Because some of these victims with Tesla, for example, all they did was go buy a vehicle that they thought helped a clean environment. And then the inventor got on the wrong side of the social justice warriors. And these guys, these men and women that opened a dealership, they thought, hey, this is the moral high ground. I'm saving our environment here. I'm giving people what they want. They didn't do anything reckless or wrong. They just woke up one day and somebody decided they were on the list. So you're thinking, well, I didn't do anything wrong. That doesn't mean you won't wake up on the list. Think about it. How about the students at Columbia and some of these other universities? They just woke up Jewish. And somebody decided, you know what? You're on the list. You don't get to go to class. You don't get to feel safe. You don't get to feel secure. We need to start thinking critically again. I just saw these headlines and thought I needed to talk about this because they're not saying everything that's going on. So I wanted to tell you the real story. Wherever you're getting the real story, make sure you subscribe and follow. I'll see you tomorrow. If you're a business owner, listen up now. You won't want to miss this. Are you sure you're not leaving money on the table when it comes time to exit? Well, thousands of business owners have already used FYSI's exit strategy and valuation services to sell smart and profit big. Why? FYSI will help you plan and position your business for the maximum return. This is what separates billion-dollar companies from small businesses. And FYSI can help you secure your legacy. Time matters. So don't wait until it's too late. Use promo Dr. Phil, DRPHIL, to schedule your free $5,000 risk assessment at fysi.com/Dr. Phil or call 800-877-4000. That's promo code Dr. Phil to schedule your assessment for free. Visit fysi.com/Dr. Phil or call 800-877-4000 today.